the center punch has a point. It's also used as a nail set. A lot of times you'll see a finished nail, something like, sorry about my reach in front of the camera. I don't know if you can, you won't be able to see it, but these finished nails have a little divot in the tip, and this center punch nail set fits right in there, and it won't slip out. And so when you hit it, you can actually it'll stay where you hit it. Actually, the one point about using a nail set is if you're using some kind of if it's a cabinet or something very nice, very gentle at first until you're sure that the nail set is not going to slip off the nail. If the nail set slips off the nail, you have a big hole, and then you have another hole where your nail. So you're filling two holes, and it's sort of an eyesore. But then the other nail sets, you do need a set. You do need different sizes. These all have a concave opening, 3 different sizes. You just choose the one for whatever nail you're setting. Even these finished nails, which are also concave in their own right, could be set with one of these. And I'm pulling back and forth, and it doesn't want to slip out. So that's the right nail set to use. It makes a slightly bigger hole. But mostly this video is about filling the holes and staining them. In this case, painting them is never a problem. You just put a primer and finish paint. That's not a problem. Sometimes we would actually, if we were going to paint a strip of wood, we would, if it had already been primed, say from the factory, or if we had already primed it, then we would see our nail holes very well after the primer is on. So then we would come back, fill the hole with a little lightweight spackle, sort of just give it a rub with the hand so it's nice and smooth, and then come around very quickly with some medium sandpaper. And this is 80. Wait, this is a little too heavy. I would probably use 120 or 150 on this, if that were that lightweight spackle. It doesn't sand all that well, but it dries fast. So what I've done here is on 3 different types of wood: oak, MDF, which is not wood, and I think this is maple. I made 3 holes with the larger nail set, and I don't know if that's going to show up, but then I went ahead and I filled the nail holes, and I used to fill the nail hole, I used this. Maybe I'll just demonstrate that at the end too. It's not that important. I filled it, I let it dry, I sanded it. And plastic wood, if you're going to be doing some staining, it does dry nice and hard. But the problem is the stain. This is the stain we're going to be using. The 2 stains are here, sort of an oak and a, what is it called, a red mahogany. One dark, one light. And here they are. Here they are again on the MDF, and here they are on the maple, the lighter and the darker. And here are the holes that I haven't stained yet. We're going to see how it goes. But the problem is that the density of this filler is different from the density of the wood. So it's going to take more or less stain depending if it's more or less dense. And it's more dense almost always. I never really worked with ebony or anything like that. So you sand really well until the grain is almost gone. And I thought you might be interested in it if you want to cheat and you don't want to buy this. Why would you not? But maybe that's, $10. Maybe you're only doing a small little thing. Here is a way that you can, and we'll stain right after this. Here's a way that you can fake it and make it. And what I do is I just I use some glue, and I use some sawdust, and I use a strainer. And what I do is I put my sawdust in the strainer, and only the finest comes through. Viola. So you have this super fine sawdust, which actually I keep a jar of it. I made a lot of it, and I use it in gluing pieces of wood together, because that glue and sawdust bond is a really good bond when you don't care too much, and you have kind of a loose joint. Anyway, I'm not a woodworker, but what you do is take a little bit of that sawdust and a little bit of that glue, and voila, you have hole filler. You have some instant hole filler. you mix it up into a little paste, not too thick, and then you would shove that into one of your holes. Now that dries, and the same with real wood filler or even spackle. You need to leave a little convex surface to sand, which is hard with this because it's this coarse sawdust. So if I were to leave that like that, I hope you can see that. When that dries, that would be very difficult to sand. Glue is just not made for sanding, and also, but it wouldn't shrink so much. But you have to leave something to sand. And if I were to come along later on sand it, it would be really difficult. But my theory is, I actually have not tested staining it yet, but that's the same. This is oak, and this is oak dust mixed with glue. And first I sanded off some of the edge of the oak to make the sawdust. So my theory is, and I have not tested this yet, this glue oak dust is going to stain better than the Elmer's. And in any case, do you really care? I mean, some people don't want to see even the smallest little difference in the stain. I never really thought that was really important. It is what it is. There's a nail there, and it looks nice with a little darker spot. Anyway, I don't know, but I guess if you really wanted it to disappear, you would drill a hole, put in a screw or a nail, and then you would put an oak plug, and then you would shave the oak plug and stain it, and it would pretty much disappear that way. But even that oak that in a plug is not going to be the same oak as that you bought here. So anyway, that's just my theory. So now we're going to put it to the test. This is the wood. This is the Elmer's, and this is I'll leave these holes for later. I was gonna show how to fill. So this is this is the lighter of the two stains, and I'm going to put it first. Well, actually, I think what I might do is leave out the lighter. Let's just practice with the darker stain. I'm not sure how that. I don't know if I have enough. Maybe I should have made another extra sample. But anyway, let's do it. I need a quick rag. I'm sorry to walk away. I never really used a brush to do any staining. I always used a rag. I would wear rubber gloves, dip and wipe. Here I am without gloves. Oh, I'm wrong. Look at the glue is much darker. Oh, how about that? Well, you live and learn. But the Elmer's shows too. So let's see in the walnut. Sucking it up. And you can see I did not sand too well with the glue, nor did I sand too well with the Elmer's. In fact, that is something I was going to try and say in my video. I forgot. You do have to sand it down flush, otherwise you get that look not good. Okay, if it's your house, but if you're a professional doing it for someone else, this is awful. So you can see here in this case, Elmer's not cutting the mustard. Probably have to look into some oil-based putty, which I'll show you in a second. And then who stains MDF? No one. And you can see where the glue actually was around the hole. It sort of sealed it, so preventing it. Anyway, actually, in this case, the Elmer's is almost the same as the MDF. So anyway, you live and you learn. And would you care if you had an oak railing and you were staining dark? Let's stain it a little darker. Would you care? I don't know. If you're paying a painter to get it exactly right, then you'd care. But if the painter tells you, well, it's not going to match, then you get what you pay for. Yeah, I think that's, not so good. It's on the borderline. It depends on your taste, what you want. So probably what you would have to do then is move to colored putty. And I have these different types of putty. This one is an ebony, which I bought. I never needed the color, but I bought it to darken up some of the others. So I would make these little balls, and I would maybe take some of this red and add some of the ebony. And once you get it moving, you get your fingers moving, it becomes nice and soft. Let's fill a hole. Do we have one left? Yes, we have one left. Well, it's the wrong color, but you just smush, and this is not sandable, so you have to leave it in a good situation. Obviously, I picked the wrong color, but you get the point. Let's do it again. The oak. And also you see right away if it's going to match your stain. And if it doesn't, you would take a little pin and pull it out and find a different color. I have had this little jar forever. These are many years of putty still in there, and I drop some mineral spirits in there every so often. Every time I open it up, I leave a few drops of mineral spirits just to keep it moist. And so I guess the key is you buy a few of these different types of putty, and I prefer the oil-based putty. I don't know if they even make. I don't even know if you'd have to look and see what's being sold these days. If they're water-based putties even existing, I don't even know. So you would buy, what you think, and you'd make a match as best you can. Then your little hole would truly disappear. Oh, see, my lid is stuck to my wrist. This is my wristband. This is a great little tool. You wrap it around, it'll hold a wrench. It's amazing. And then finally, I will do a quick. Well, I guess I just showed how to fill with the putty. And then finally, a nail set. These two I painted sort of orange so I can find them. And these are my grandfather's. And I also wanted to mention that, let's see if you can see the tops of these. Oh, these are extremely old. And I think I lost my battery. If you buy a cheap nail set, these will flatten out. You'll just like a nail. You can like a wedge, hitting it with a wedge with a sledgehammer. It will sort of deform. But if you buy hardened steel, the better makers, it won't. So these are very old. I love them. I love using them. Again, the main thing is you set your nail set right on top of the nail and just give a few taps. Make sure it's not slipping off, and then whack. Which I'll save your ears from doing that. So that's it. You can see I didn't follow my own rules, and I got stain on my fingers. Joy. Okay, I hope that helps.